Hello. We're back. Sorry, I'm just catching my breath. I was rushing to get here on time. Um, Doing Game Jam, day two. Uh, Before I get started on the code, a quick note about. Yay! Hi, Chris. A quick note about the next couple days. I am on PTO until December 1st. But there's also a thing going on, and I don't like to be political on my social media really anymore. But I'll be participating in the blackout, so there will be no stream Tuesday through December 1st. So next time I will stream. I might stream tomorrow and get third day of the game jam, but Tuesday forward to December 1st, no stream. So there won't be one on a regularly scheduled one on the 30th. I'll come back on the 7th. But yeah, let's get going. And I'll post about this. I'll do a YouTube post, and I'll post about it on my other social media accounts too. So anyway, Chris, question: do you use OBS? Because lately, streaming to YouTube, I don't get the go live button anymore. Like if I select that and start streaming, it immediately starts streaming. So I don't know what happened there. It's a YouTube thing, but that was kind of frustrating. I was like, oh wait, I'm not ready. I wanted to click the go live button separately. Oh, that's a setting for auto start. Okay, maybe I'll have a look at that later. Okay. Anyway, that's all right. Not too embarrassing. Okay, so maybe Chris, you can help me decide. I had like 4 ideas. I don't know if you saw my stream from yesterday. I'm sure you were busy doing your Bevy inverse kinematics, which is really cool stuff. But so the theme is Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, because Lucy is the mascot of Gleam, and she's a star. That's Lucy in the background there. So I've been debating, like, on the one hand, I think that my personal interest is, like, most of the time is like puzzle games. But and the nice thing about puzzle games is their visual content can be more limited than sort of like action type games. Yeah, I've done that. Streamed the other desktop for 10 minutes. Yeah. But then puzzle games have really interesting and potentially intricate like systems, right? Because you have to have a set of rules, and you have to enforce the rules at every step, and so forth. I think the potential appeal of something more live, like the timed race loop game, or a side-scrolling or top-scrolling space shooter, is that the systems will be simple, but then you need more content, if that makes sense. Because let's say we did something like Gradius or Tyrion. You need levels. You need spawn timers for enemies. You need enemy behavior. I guess that's still pretty significant in terms of systems. But like the amount of content you need might be substantial. I think this was always my first idea. I don't know. A platformer, I think, might be too much. Especially if we do 3D on that, that's probably too much. We would have the advantage of having Rapier just ready-made. So I don't know. I was thinking about there's also one other possibility, which we if we wanted to do a like a puzzle game. Um, I had mentioned in a previous stream I do have a fond spot in my heart for Yo Ho Ho Puzzle Pirates, which came out in the early aughts, and one of my favorite puzzle games. Yes, platformer lives or dies on the controller too. Oh, I forgot to get out my gamepad. We'll have to do that in a bit. Um, anyway, the puzzle that I liked most on that was the navigation puzzle, and it was basically like, and this would even work with the theme, I think. You had rings. You had three rings, and they're overlaid on the background of the wheel of the ship, right? Um, yes, it's an MMO puzzle game, or rather, it's an MMO with puzzle games embedded, um, and they're all turn based isn't really exactly right. Um, I can give a brief explainer. So you would and I've explained this in this previous stream, but I'll try to make it short this time. So you play a pirate. You go on missions for captains to earn some money until you can get your own ship. You might join a crew, which will give you access to the ships that the crew owns. And that crew might be part of a flag, which is a larger alliance. And so there's the social MMO aspect, and you could just hang out in a little circle and talk to people, which was fun. Um, the world was 2D isometric perspective. The games the games were puzzles. You had crafting puzzles when you're on land. When you're on a ship, you had puzzles that were related to doing the ship, like the bilge pumping puzzle was a sort of match 3, match 4 type of game with falling bricks, and they had time constraints on them. A lot of the puzzles, so like the faster you did it, the better your score was. There was the carpentry puzzle, which was like patching holes in the ship, and that like would repair damage. Um, there was the oh gosh, one of my favorites was the cannon loading puzzle. You would have the cannonballs and the gunpowder and the wad, going around in a 2D board, and you had to like turn various tiles to direct them in the right way to get them into the cannon. Um, and that was actually active when you were in a dogfight. The faster you loaded the cannons, the more ammo the captain had. Sailing, it was, or they called it rigging, I think. It was sort of like a Dr. Mario type game where you have certain spots that you need to match, and like the better you match them with the different colored pieces, the faster the ship can go. And then finally, the navigation was the captain's puzzle, and or whoever the captain designated to control the ship. So you would set your course, you would play the navigation puzzle, and it was another kind of like falling object matching thing, but you could spin the various rings around to make matches, and you can make I think you could only make vertical matches, um, but you had to deal with the stars coming in from all directions and like figure out where they were supposed to land, and they would like fall in on a timer. Maybe we could do a puzzle like that. I say simple. None of this is simple. Okay. So falling. I'm just call falling stars puzzle, and this is like puzzle pirates navigation game. The nice thing about this is I think that the interesting parts would be the puzzle rules, the RNG of like you know, what color star is going to fall next. Hello from Armenia. Welcome. And um, and then the mechanics. So it's been long enough that I haven't played that game that I don't recall what the circumstances were that would trigger a match. Did you have to have 3 plus the one falling in, or did you have to have like 2 and then the one falling in would have to fall into the proper spot on the wheel to make a match? I don't remember if you could have matches around the ring. I would guess that you could. And the other thing is, I don't know if when you did a match like on an inner level, if the outer levels would fall inward. Those are some sort of mechanics we could think about. The nice thing about this in terms of the theme is we can make a sky background like stars. We can have Lucy appear in it. I actually had earlier today this idea of you take the Lucy logo and do like a kind of a for an effect when you win or something, like do the old school Batman thing where do like the logo zooms in and then zooms out as something spinning behind it. That could be fun. Okay. All right, so we did do controls last time. I started to do a little bit yesterday, but then I was doing some outside stuff, and that used up my brain and my energy, so I didn't get any more done. Okay. So let me quit a few things. I don't need Discord up while we're doing this. It'll just be distracting. Okay, so we got the input bindings. We defined this, and okay. So I think I want to make this public, because then what we can do in our game model, let's say like input, because there's a question in my mind about whether we want to because you want this input bindings for the like handling actions. But we also want a representation that's more like this for the allowing the user to set set their own bindings. And maybe we don't deal with this right now. Maybe we just do maybe we'll just cache that. So down here in our init, let's do input is controls.default bindings. And that'll give us and that'll be up to date. Okay, so last time we just zeroed out the scene. Yes, you can hear the sound effect of the Batman logo change. Honestly, I think I should like go see if there's there's something like that. That would be fun. Okay, I'm gonna save that for now. Okay, so the other bit I want to make is we're going to need our UI to be separate, at least somewhat separate. It should have its own model. We should like have game states in it that like trigger various bits of UI. Yeah, just rip it from the stream audio later with my voice like that. That would be great. Okay. Absolutely, 100%. That would be perfect. It would be hilarious, and after a point, it would be obnoxious. Okay, so let me make sure we have Luster in here directly. Yes, we do. Okay, so last time we looked at the UI overlay example, and this is just, they did everything in one file, which is fine for an example. But I think for us, we will want to do this as a separate bit. So I think we'll do something like this maybe. So let's go back here. Let's make a start, and that is going to return a result. Excuse me. Yeah, let's just copy this. I don't actually know what type it's going to return. And we'll make okay, so we'll need a model, which is the UI model. And actually, it doesn't need to be pub, does it? And I don't know what's going to be in it yet, so we'll just leave it empty. The idea is that we would be okay, so there's a game state in here. Yeah, we'll probably have multiple game states or even nested states potentially. I think the big thing here is that we call register luster. So we call as that's the effect returned. So that kind of like, I don't know how it works, but it sets up the binding between the two so that you can send messages between them. Okay, so we're just going to say model and UI.register luster. Yeah, so that returns an effect. And then fun update model is model. And we're going to make a type message. So these would be the UI messages. If this is looking familiar, it's the same pattern as the other. Okay, and so this is going to be we're just going to return model. We're not going to do anything on update yet. I wonder, does this... Yeah, that's one thing here too. If you return effects from your init, you have to return effects from your update. Yeah, I don't know that this needs to be public, because I think that they're just like function references here. Or thunks. Anonymous functions. Okay, so this takes model, and this is going to return an element. This is the model, and this is going to return an element, a message. Okay, so we don't know what we're going to do yet here, but why don't we just make an HTML div? Just make an empty div. And this will be the this will be the full thing, and that way we can do absolute position stuff inside this div, and it'll be an overlay for our canvas. Full H. And by the way, these are Tailwind classes if you're not familiar, because it comes with Tailwind. Okay, so this is going to be our model. We'll just ignore that we don't have that. Okay, and then we need to import luster element, type element. Let's just do that. There's not really anything that we need to do there. We've got the let assert here, so if it doesn't start, it doesn't start. But since we've got not really anything in here, there's nothing to crash yet. I don't think that there's. You know, let's look at the luster UI thing, or not the luster, the Tiramisu UI module real quick, because I think that there was. All right, so you do this in your luster init, and if you want to send messages from game to UI, you do this, and if you want to send messages to the game, you do this. Okay, so there's no. We're really only concerned with the UI being registered with the game engine, not the other way around. It doesn't have to be. This is probably direct FFI function. No, effect front do register luster. Going in here. This is FFI. Interesting. Okay, and then there's this dispatch to Tiramisu you do from the luster side. Okay. I am very curious. Let's look real quick. This is a big file. I should have opened it locally. Let's see, dispatch to UI. Okay. Here. Okay, so this dispatch manager is like a constant in this module, I'm guessing, or a var that you fill on startup. The let. Sorry, going down. Here. Okay, so it's just construct this thing. It's just a global. I don't know why I didn't see that right above the frickin' function I was looking at. Cool. Okay, so really this dispatch manager. Um, so when you call register UI, it puts a function on there that is basically the Luster dispatch function. And then when the game starts up, it says, "Hey, register the game," and it puts its own dispatch function in there. So that's how you get back. You get both directions. And I'm assuming that the that happens automatically. Yeah, so here like this is the dispatch function, which is just push a message on the queue. Makes sense. And then down here it's hey, register the game. Here's my dispatch function. Cool, makes sense. All right. Okay. So, I really think that the hard part about this is I have to make this decision. And honestly, I'm leaning toward this puzzle game. I think it'll be accessible. The controls needed are minimal. The hard part is the game logic, right? This goes until November 30th. I think it's like 1700 Central European time. So is that like 1500 UTC? So I've got 9 days. I don't want to be doing it, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day for 9 days. That's my constraint. Yeah, it's a pretty reasonable amount of time, and I think that the organizers of this, I'm really glad that they did that. Yeah, so it ends at 1700 Central European time. They know people have jobs. Gleam is not really that many people's job yet. And doing games in Gleam is absolutely no one's job yet. So I think that it's pretty reasonable expectation to have 9 days. Now, if it were just this weekend, I'd be like, unless I came in with a whole engine I wrote myself, forget it. Okay, so we have the outline of UI. Let's go ahead and stick it in here. We're gonna do UI dot start. We'll just call it there, and then we'll have our UI, and we'll be able to send things to it when we're ready. Okay. All right. If we think about the game here, I've got way too many things open. The other thing that is making me lean toward this, partly that it's 2D, which means I can just like directly use the Lucy logos as an asset. I'm going to do like asset loading. By the way, I need like asset loading as a common need. That's pretty straightforward. We figured that out in our other streams, how to load assets. So we got that pirate ship on the water. So that's not hard. But we should get, maybe we make a file which is just assets, and it will have all of our constants for the URLs that we need and so forth. And I need to close that because I keep getting caught by it. So let's look real quick at, that's not going to get Gleam.run. So is it down here in the community? I'm not sure where the logos are. Louis, where are they? Okay. Images. Here we go. Here's the main Lucy one. Ping file. Let's go ahead and save that. Download, please. Oh, I already had one. Okay. Of course I did. Go my embarrassingly large downloads folder and see. Lucy, where are you? Lucy. Okay, so we're going to copy you. And we're going to go... Here, let's just go in my code and game jam. We're going to make a directory. Here, oh, no, not there. Boo. Okay, here, assets. And let's just put Lucy in there. Paste. Okay, so we got Lucy in there. There was also, I don't remember where I grabbed it, but there's other. Is there the Gleam website? Because there's other. Here we go. Other versions of Lucy in here. Images. Okay, so we've got some SVGs. What we could do is we could put those in something else and convert them to pings to use as textures. I don't know if there's, I don't remember if there's SVG import in assets. I don't think there is. Lucy Ace. Debug fail, that could be fun. Okay. Lucy is a snowflake. Lots of pride Lucys. They're all SVGs though, like Super Lucy. Oh wow, that's fun. Is this? That's a good one. We should download that. I may have to pull out graphite to convert these. Looking for this is the one that I have on my thumbnail for the stream. So we'll go ahead and get that. Okay. Okay, so that's a really tiny one. We don't need that. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know why that's a thing. All right. Here, I've got Graphite. By the way, if you didn't know, Graphite is a cool web-based image editor, node-based. This is how I make my thumbnails. So if you've ever seen that on my streams, what is that Graphite thing in the sidebar? This is written in Rust and JavaScript, so pretty cool stuff. So I'm gonna make a new one. Let's make it 512 by 512. I think that's probably big enough, and we can get. Let's import, and I think I had it in the downloads. Lucy. Right. Let's get the sleep one, and then we can. me scale that down. Oops. Scale. Let's fit it inside the artboard. Okay. And then the artboard, I want completely transparent. Export ping. We can use that as our texture. I don't know, it's this, just named Lucy. I should have named it different. Too many. Okay. Code, game jam, assets. Okay. So I'm going to rename this as Lucy Sleep. And we'll put it in there. And then let's delete that one and let's import the other SVG we just downloaded, Lucy Happy. I think we have that. Yeah, that's what I used in the... Here, we'll scale that. Well, I can no longer see the edge of the artboard, so I'm going to have to put that up to opaque again. And then we'll pull it out when we want to export. Here, scale. Okay. Might be a little bit close to the edge there. Let's give it some space so we don't get artifacts on the edge. All right. Let's make the artboard clear again. Okay, and we're going to rename this to Lucy Happy. And then we'll drop it in our assets again. Okay. That's enough to go on for now. The other thing that will be interesting is I had generated this as a 3D, but we can completely change our mind. I'm gonna get rid of those things for now so it's not cluttered. Now we've got the assets, we can start to play with those. We could use... We could even use Lucy as like a part of the UI, which is pretty nice. Could be fun. Okay, and it looks like the transparency came out well on all these. Different sizes, but that's okay. It's slightly pixel difference there. Not incredibly concerned about it. All right, and I'm gonna do... Chris, you know of a place that has game assets, right? Like, I actually just want to get a star field. Maybe I'll use Google Images. A star field. Okay, and then I'm gonna make sure that it's Creative Commons. Itch or Kenny, yeah. That's pretty cool. I want it to be good but not too distracting. Unsplash. I haven't heard of Unsplash. Oh, may I have? It's in my history or something. Okay. How much of these are AI generated is what I wonder. Let's see for Starfield. That's Getty. Oh, that's kind of nice. Yeah, I think like I might have to subscribe to this to. Okay. Only for the Getty Images ones. Yeah. Why don't I see about like I actually don't mind these. I used to be a big fan of, and I use their images in presentations in the past of the astronomy picture of the day, because a lot of those are public domain. Let's see what the license details are on that. Attribution to. Okay, so I kind of want to use a share alike, possibly. CC0, public domain. Okay. Free to use. Okay, that's a legit image. That's a legit photo. Download, or you make me look at ads. Yes, you are. Okay. Show in Finder. Let's rename this to Starfield. It's like even if I change my mind and we go and do a different game, I think that like the Starfield is going to fit with the theme. So, oh, and I put it in code, not in there. Not Tiramisu demo assets. Oh, they don't accept AI generation. Okay, that's good to know. Because like I could see that sort of site getting filled with slop really fast in people's effort to make money. So, okay. All right, so let's look back at Tiramisu. Scene graph guide. So this is some stuff on shader toy effects. I might have to do that in FFI. I'm not really concerned about it wrapping or scrolling or anything like that. So maybe shader toys, doing a custom shader is not necessary. But we could. I see. Where's my 3JS docs here? Like we could create a texture and place it on a like a basic material. Which would be or is it the custom material? It's been a while since I looked at this material. Yeah, I forget exactly. Don't let me send you that. Maybe on a separate stream. Maybe we'll do some fun stuff with 3JS when we're not trying to figure this out. Okay, so I want to go down here and figure out what we want to do. If we're going to do 2D. Okay, I did play with that standard material and the displacement maps previously, and that was fun, but we're probably not going to use that. Okay, so we're going to do orthographic. The question is, do we want to do pixel perfect 2D or just plain 2D? Let's just do an orthographic camera. Yeah, I think the pixel perfect 2D is really only if you're going to do pixel art, and we're not concerned with that. We're going to have things scaled. We're not going to have things exactly to proportion. So I totally unbiased opinions on the implications of pixel perfect. Yeah, I mean, like the effort you have to put in there. You know, if I were doing a game like what was that, like Super Meat Boy or whatever, like where the characters are like 10 pixels tall or something, like yeah, I'd want pixel perfect. But I'm not doing that kind of game. So one thing that might be interesting is, and I'm not sure how this is going to work, but we could do a 2D, because the 2D camera is really just a projection, right? You still have a 3D scene, and it kind of like flattens things, right? It gives you no field of view. Um, it's as if everything is at the same layer, but or at the same depth visually, right? There's no perspective lines. Um, let's do orthographic. Okay, and what do we need in here? We need left. And I'm just going to use these. We'll probably tweak them later. And then in our empty scene, let me call this, we need to make IDs. So let's go ahead and make, for our objects, and we're going to say, I'm going to say root scene as an ID. And I'm going to say camera. Let's say game camera, in case we want to do something else. Maybe root camera. You can do picture in picture, which is fun with multiple cameras, but we might have to have it like viewing a different scene. So, and this is going to be ID, not string anymore. Root scene. Okay, so let's put our camera in there. And right, so no viewport, no children, no post-processing. Post-processing might be fun, but we don't need it right now. Okay. So our ID is going to be root camera. Camera is going to be that. If I can spell, it doesn't like that. Okay, we'll just go ahead and make it explicit. Transform is going to be transform identity. Viewport none. Did I import option? I did. Okay. Because I was tired of typing option none. Children is an empty list. And post-processing is none. Oh, okay. So we need to deal with the look at. I think the look at is, what was it missing? Active. Yeah, so this is the active camera. I don't know. There's no, children is not. Yeah, I don't know why it says children there. That must be a typo. Look at is going to be vec3 splat. Look at, what's wrong with that? Oh, needs to be some. Or we could just say none. I think that's, we'll see what happens if we do none. This is let assert. Yeah. All right, I need to restart the language server. It doesn't like that. that. Oh, I just returned. There's no assert there. This must be an example where the things the API's changed. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're good on that. Okay. So we've got our camera. Let's go ahead and make the star field. So what's wrong with this? Oh, yeah, our context needs ID, not string. That was problem type annotation. Okay, and this needs ID. Okay, we're not using vec3. Let's go ahead and make. So I want the star field in the background. We're gonna have to do the dance of loading assets. That's fine. So let's go ahead and make an assets file. And we're gonna do we're just gonna do some strings here, which are going to be these URLs. Lucy.png. And we can use them as textures later. Okay, and then the we're gonna make texture asset Lucy. So we're just gonna do we did some of this in our other projects, so I think that I might like copy that code over. So we need Lucy happy, Lucy sleep, Starfield. And then what are we going to do here? So we're going to have our init. It's going to load those assets, and we'll use this batch load business that they've got. We might need to handle these errors. Maybe we can just go without them for now, but here. I think it was load batch simple. Yeah, we did this code before. Let me see if I do not have that. Let's open Tiramisu demo. We're gonna look at remember last time we did the camera control, that was fun stuff. But looking at the assets, okay, so we did this fetch models thing. So we did load batch simple, and we mapped that promise into a message and turned it into effect. So we're gonna have to do something similar there. I think I'd like to structure that differently. When we say assets loaded, we're going to do Tiramisu. Let's import that batch load result, because then we can display the errors or write them to the console or something if there are any. Okay, so we're gonna put. I kind of want to decouple this a little bit. And this is going to be and this is going to return effect dot effect a, because what I want to do here is not luster effect, Tiramisu effect, please. This is going to be a function a. Batch. Right, because we want to construct this batch load result. And then we're basically going to do asset. Why am I here? Dot. We're basically going to do this business, but we're going to, so let's do asset load batch simple. And then we'll promise map and pass that function, and then do effect from promise, and then we've got what we want. Load batch simple. All assets. Let's get the pipelines going. You know I love the pipelines. Promise. Okay, so we need to import. Do we have that in here? No. Let's Gleam. Add Gleam JavaScript. Okay. I do not know why my editor is given up. So promise map constructor effect from promise. Okay, so that's basically what we'll do on there. Oh, it's given up because of this. Load all assets loaded. Okay, import game assets. Okay. So now we need to handle this. And the batch load result, it's got cache and errors. Asset batch load, cache, errors. At some point we'll have states, but we need to put the cache. We'll call it assets and put it in there. When we construct it, we need to do new cache. We don't care. It can be empty. So here we're going to do model, and we'll splat this. And we're going to say assets is cache. And then we'll do an effect at some point here. This would be like a state transition, perhaps. Or maybe we just change it. So like we probably want to have a loading state. I'm going to ignore this for now. I think that we should do something there. I'm just not sure what. You know, we do have, let's look at the standard lib. There is IO. We could just print print error. This should be implemented for, yeah, so JavaScript, it has an FFI on there, so we could do that. Why don't we just do that for now? We'll print it to the console and move on with our lives. Each, yeah. We'll print it at the console and move on with our. This is a game jam. Like, you know, polish is part of the judging criteria, but yeah, I'm not real concerned. I want to know if I have a problem, but I'm not expecting that in the main course of the game to be a problem, right? So, okay. So if we get errors, we'll print them. If they're none, it's not going to print anything. And then we've got our asset cache. So I think we've closed the loop of load all this stuff. The other thing that we might do here is like maybe this is our first UI thing. So its initial state is probably this will make a loading state, and then and let's make a menu state, and let's make a in-game state. Maybe since we bothered with that, maybe we'll make a paused state so you can step away from the game. That would be very nice. Okay, so the model is going to have a state, and its initial state is going to be loading. And then our message here, maybe we say done loading, or loading finished, right? And we will do this. So it'll be like menu will be the first thing that we do. The interesting thing here is this state can hold stuff. So like we could do, obviously in-game and paused might be simultaneous states in terms of like, hey, we want to update the score. Maybe we should put the score in here as something that we have. We won't do that yet, but okay. So now here we can put case model dot. Oh, and then add these patterns, and we'll say view loading, right? And the menu will be more complicated for sure, especially if we have like ability to rebind controls. But for now, we're going to say in game. And we'll pass that one the model because we'll probably want data going in there. Honestly, let's just pass all of them if they're ignored. View menu. View paused. Okay. So view loading, I think, is going to be pretty simple. We'll ignore the model for now. This is going to return element message. Okay, so this is fixed. Now I'm going to have to remember like CSS as well. Okay, so let's make a div, and we'll figure out what the classes are later. And we're going to say text, and we're going to keep it simple. But let's go ahead and make it big. Text, let's make it 3XL. I think that that's what it is. Let's start with that. Let's generate that function. Let's generate that function, and let's generate that function. Okay, for now we're going to do html.empty, or there was a how do we do that? Element.empty. There was a way you could make. Gosh, I did it for Essentials of Compilation. I don't remember what it is. Element none. There it is. Thank you. And we'll just put these in all of these. So for now. Okay, so the other thing that we can do temporarily is so we can see this loading screen and make sure it looks right. We can just not ever send this message. So what if I do it like this and comment it out? Okay, so here's the other thing. I think that we need to know the Tailwind classes. Tailwind CSS. Oh my goodness. So the parent is fixed. So we could either use max. I'm sorry, we could use absolute positioning on this div. Okay, so I want it to be white because we're going to probably have a black background. I need to fix that here. So background color is going to be 0, just black. We want that to be white. This is the classic CSS problem. How do you vertically and horizontally align something? So I think inline or table cell box. So if we make this box like inline block, justify and align center. Yeah, I know. I actually wish that the Tailwind CSS, here, let's see if we can turn it on. See if it'll find this. Justify. No. It doesn't start. Boo. Fine, be that way. Okay, so we'll do text center at least. I don't think this is going to work. We're going to try justify center. The main thing here is that I think we want h full and width full, and then it'll cover the whole thing. And maybe that'll work. Maybe it'll put it in the center. I don't know yet. We'll find out. Okay, I have not run this thing yet, so we're about to find out how broken it is. Did you think it would take me this long to get here? Okay, so we are getting the loading displayed, but first of all, it's tiny. It has a white background. So I think that we need to apply some classes to this so that the background is transparent. I wish I'd made that into a new window, but here, let's just make a new window. There's a question in my mind of whether we're actually getting the doesn't really tell me what I want, but okay. It could be that we don't have the same stuff that we had in our Luster project. So we're not getting the, like, we need to put a UI.css in here, right? We probably need to do that and do something like, you know, just do this. Yeah, it's not getting this style sheet. How did we do it before? Did we do that in the priv directory? I don't think so. Yeah, it's interesting that the background color is coming out white. This didn't do anything, at least not yet. It doesn't know what any of those classes are because it's not including. All right, let's bring back up Essentials of Compilation and see what we did there. Okay, so we put this in priv static. No, this is generated in priv static. We do have an index HTML here. Okay, so this looks like it's injected by Luster on startup. What is this business? I mean, maybe what we do is copy. And the thing is, I think that's probably going to break. No, it didn't. All right, let's restart. Let's run build and see what happens. Okay, so it generated. Okay, here the building it generated this. Okay, so maybe we need to tweak the import map. Here, I think what the answer is, we don't need that index HTML. It didn't do anything, so we need it's here. Okay, so aha. How do we tell Luster use this style sheet? What is the structure of that? Because I want the tailwind, please. care about routing. Is it Luster DevTools that I need to be looking at, not this? I bet it is. Tommel reference. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we can... Okay. So we can update this. Gleam Game Jam 2025. And then that will... When we refresh, we'll get something different on the title. Yeah, so we updated the title. Okay. So I think we need to figure out what else we need in this. So how do you tell it, please do build Tailwind? That defaults to false, so I don't think that it's being... do I need to do... Give me a new terminal. So now the question is, will that have suddenly included? No. Array of directories relative to the project group to watch for changes. Okay, source. Okay, so those are always watched. I don't need to add those. Should have read that more carefully. That's annoying. Oh, Tommel, why do you gotta be like that? Why you gotta be mean? I wonder if I remove this. And we're gonna get, you know, a problem there. And maybe what I need to do here is go put that back. But what I'm wondering is if that exists, if it's going to override the like build Tailwind and throw it in here, right? Like, it's frustrating. May have to ask on the Discord. All right, well let's copy this out. Here, I'll just put it in here. Okay, so that's different. Um, I'm not getting any evidence that it's building this. Like, it's not finding this CSS file and building it. That is frustrating. You can use this fab icons for including external shots and use style sheets. This defaults to nothing. It says it'll always generate the link tag for any built Tailwind CSS styles. I love that this is actually straight up JavaScript and not minified. I mean, eventually I'll minify it, but okay, so hold on. Looks like some data URLs. I have no idea what that is. Okay. Oh. Looks like some of the integration with Rapier there. Okay. Keep going up. Fine. Don't care for now. Let's try throwing that in there. And I don't know if it's even going to show up. Let's see if we run build, if it gets copied in there. It does not. And then probably when we load the page, it's going to be like, I don't know what that is. Yeah. How do we tell it to build? Because like if we had set this up with Luster, you know, through its setup thing, it would just work, right? And that's the part that bugs me, is that it's too magical. need to specify the out directory. No, because it's fine. I bet there's some like little thing that I'm missing here. No. We didn't set any of this. Like any of those configurations. We did have this. Maybe I need to make a root one. Here, let's just move this to the root and rename it gamejam.css and see if it picks it up. Now we can also do make it simpler, because I think that that's what we did in the other one. Oh, semicolon. Yeah, we just did that, and then we defined layers. And I had some, you know, CSS in here. And that's just like, hey, import this business. All right. This is frustrating. Oh, look at it building CSS now. I just had to name it the right thing. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of this, you know, this business. For Pete's sake. Let's try that again. Hey, there's Tailwind. What do you know? Okay, and then, yeah, it's referring to the style sheet. Okay. Silly conventions. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Magic conventions is the main problem. Oh, and I probably have to kill the server and restart because I changed that. Yep, there it's building the style sheet. Yada yada. Okay, so now we've got it at least horizontally centered and white. Oh, for Pete's sake. Okay. So, yikes on a bike. Okay, so this is full width and full height. So the question is, text center and justify center, those might be not useful. So layout, do we need flex here? We might need flex, but because I think that the justify only applies to flex. Like fix is going to be useful for it might be fine to just have this be like just have a top margin of 3, or maybe we say top, because we can do absolute positioning here. We say top 10, I don't know, make it up. Yeah, I think this self-center thing doesn't apply because it's Flexbox only. Okay. So spacing is 0.25 rem. So it's doing a calculation there. Let's see about, without taking too much time, because I don't think it's that important. Okay, contain. Okay, that's about stretching. That doesn't apply to this. Nope. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, that's still not right. It did something interesting. Let's see what that translate did. Okay, that's close to what we want. Oh well. How is it possible in the year of our whoever 2025? I cannot put something in the center of the window. Still. I mean, I could do a bunch of calculations, I guess, based on the text height. I think for right now, what I'll do is I'll say, like, give it a really big number, and then it's right there. Right. Okay, so that's fine. We will move on. Um, it is pretty disappointing. And maybe what we could do potentially is pass some information from the from the tiramisu side of like, here's what our canvas size is, and then use that to adjust this. All right. Okay, so let's go. We have the loading screen. Let's do the menu real quick. And it's really only going to have start new game for the first thing. So we'll do absolute. We'll start at the same spot. Salute. Here, position. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so maybe okay, so what does this inset mean? What if we put inset full on this? Inset full. No, I have no idea where it went. So it went way over there. Although that is vertically positioned correct. Maybe we just need inset Y. Or is it inset X auto? Inset auto? Does that do what we want? No. Okay. Aha! Woo! Okay. That is brilliant. Okay, let's make it bigger. Let's make it huge. Oh wait, that's not a class. Inset. Who would have known? Hey, I'm really happy with that. Look at that. Isn't that brilliant? Okay. I did a thing. I learned about modern absolute positioning. Remember the bad old days where you had to specify pixel values all the time? Yeah. I don't miss those. Okay, so this we'll do inset X auto on this. And we need text. Let's do text white for now. Center. And we don't need to do H full and W full. And let's go ahead and let's put this in the middle of the screen as well. These children are going to need to be we'll have some stuff for them. Like maybe we'll make a menu option function. Yeah. Okay, for now let's do this, and then let's how we got down that rabbit hole is we were going to do the state transition. So okay, it did not load any of the assets. Boo. Well, it did load the assets, but we did not get the message back. Now, one thing that we're doing is we are not sending a message to the UI. So, so let's go ahead and do that. So we need here, rather than effect none, we need UI dot dispatch to Luster, and this game UI dot loading finished. Oh, and the problem here is this needs to be let's look at that example again, because I think I got something wrong here. Oh, first of all, I need to make this pub. Oh, now it works. Okay, so it's not complaining about that. I was like, oh gosh, did this need to be? Yeah. Okay, so you can see, hopefully, it briefly says loading, and it's like, nope, I'm done. All right. Let's get that start new game thing actually in the middle, because this is not, the problem is this, I think. I don't have the, I have to say W full. Yeah. H full. Okay. Get in there. And then we'll use that in game for some overlay stuff and the paused also. I think that here, let's copy the paused. Copy this and say paused. And we'll tweak all the styles of this stuff later. It's fine. Good stuff. We're cranking. Okay, so we need to I'm going to make a background ID here. Let's make a plane. Let's see, geometry plane. And I'm going to make it 10 by 10. Yep. Okay, and then its material is going to be material dot basic. Okay. And the color is an integer. We're going to make it color black. Transparent false. False. Opacity 1.0. And then texture. So what we need to do here is we'll have to deal with this generally speaking, but I think that yeah, what we can do here is get our model asset. Get texture. Model.assets, and we're going to say assets dot star field. And I think we can do result dot it's an option from result. What's wrong with that? Oh, it's map. Okay. I was like, why do I need to map something? I don't need to map something. Okay. So it'll either be black or we'll have the asset and it'll show the star field. So now let's go ahead and throw it's a mesh. And what do we put on it? Okay, so its ID is going to be background. example. Not this one. Okay, it needs a transform, geometry, material, and physics. Okay, so we're going to be transform at we're going to be 0. So Z is going into the camera, right? Near is 0.1, far is 1,000. So we want this to be as far away as possible. Okay, transform geometry is going to be background geo. Material is going to be background material. And physics is going to be none. Did I not import that? Oh, it's vec3. Okay. Okay, so the question in my mind is, did that end up behind? Let's put it at $9.99, just to be sure. Interesting. So it did get a texture. Oh, is the issue we don't have any lights? Okay. It's not lit, so ambient light. Let's make an ambient light ID. It's like, oh well, we can't see anything because it's freaking black. Light ID ambient light. Okay. And let's see what the light thing is. All right, we're gonna upload the docs for that. Okay, so we need to make an ambient light. Okay. contrast takes intensity. Let's just make it full on bright color. Okay, so an ambient light, I guess you still... Yeah, and just use transform identity. Okay. Oops. Okay, so that's not actually help anything. What are those warnings? It's good to have an ambient light, but it's not affecting anything. Let's look at an example and we can figure this out. Let's see. Camera 2D. Okay, so that's camera 2D. Is there an orthographic example? Maybe this multi-camera one. Let's see the multi-camera one. This is sort of one of those, like, you get a 3D scene and you have like a top-down perspective camera. Oh, this is, okay, multiple cameras. That's interesting. Okay. So we could potentially turn off the root camera if I want to try one more thing. But we could potentially turn off the root camera while we're in the menu. That's interesting. So if we change the state, we could say, you know, active, you know, is this current state in game or paused, right? Yeah, that's not changing anything. It could also be we need to look at it is a crime to me that sum is not in the prelude, but result is. Okay, so that's a deliberate design choice. I would argue that they both should be in there, but okay, so we could say we need to make sure that it looks at 0, 0, and then 1,000. Makes makes no difference. I just want to display my quad with some stuff on it. I wonder if there's also some coordinate system business going on here. So let's try half. No. All right, what can we do with the debug? Because there is debug stuff in Tiramisu. We've used the axes before. What's that third argument? Oh, length. Let's do 10. Let's just get rid of that. What? I hate it when your examples are here. Splat me 0. Yeah, I'm not even seeing the axes. I don't know what's going on here. It's frustrating. All right, let's look back at the example. Maybe we can figure this out, and then I want to wrap up for the day. I think that this is yeah, that's not what I want to do. Oh, hey, there was a shader. Where'd that shader business go? Ah, fun. Okay, so it's a vertex and a fragment shader. And how are they turning that into... Okay, so that's going into post-processing. Yeah. Okay. Maybe the sprites demo will help me understand, because that's got to be using a 2D camera, right? That's an interesting way to do it too. As far as the asset loading. That would give you fine grain, you know, like, hey, you can display a progress bar. I don't really care about that right now. Oh, okay. So the sprites thing is actually using a perspective camera. It's a little funky way to do it, but... And then, yeah, so if we're in the loading state, let's do an empty one with the camera and the lights. Otherwise, you get the sprites out. You make a basic material. I wonder if it's the color. Like, do I need to be setting the color on this to be white? No, that makes no difference. Okay. So they're throwing this. They're basically making a nested scene with sprites in there, and they're like, "Hey, do we have this one? Do we have that one?" And so forth with those assets, and then tweaking where they are positioned. So I don't think we're doing anything wrong here. I'm just confused. Maybe we need transparent true. Let's try transparent true. I don't think that that's going to fix it either. But yeah, I almost need like a WebGL debugger. Because we're not seeing the axes at all. I mean, it could be that they are out of field of vision. So we could do make them at 0, 0, 10. Okay, so now we're getting axes. So at least we can see those. Interesting. Okay, you can still see them when they're there. It's interesting that that is going off to the left with this orthographic camera. Can we debug something else? That's what I'm wondering too. God, I have a bunch. No, I just have 2 windows. Okay, so let's go back. Leave that open. Debug. Let's throw in a grid. What does debug grid do? Size, divisions, color. On the ground plane, XZ plane. That's probably not what we want because Yeah, let's make a little debug box. So the minimum, let's do vec3. What I want to do is basically see is our, where's our plane, right? So if this is its transform, I expect it to be at because I made it 10 by 10, not 20 by 20, which was a mistake, but that's fine. And then let's make it debug dot color orange. Okay, so it should be displaying in this, and that's interesting. I think. Oh. That may be a factor. Games are okay. Like I would expect this to not blow up when I resize the window. So like if I do that, move the window around, I should not get that camera getting destroyed. I wonder if there's something to do with what the inputs to that camera are that you have to take from the context. Centered at the origin with world coordinates. Maybe we switch from the orthographic. Zero zero center of the screen. I wonder if this is a simplified version of it is a simplified version of orthographic. The thing is, let's do this. We're going to use the screen space. So we need float dot. And truncate. Okay, so now it's in screen space coordinates, which is, I don't like that. I would rather have, I'd rather have world space coordinates for the camera and have it adjust, but I'm kind of worried. Here. The other thing here that may be the case is that when I create this plane geometry, it makes an XZ plane. So this transform, I'm betting that's what it is. So I need to figure out how to transform. It's probably like invisible. That's got to be the problem. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's look at the. I feel like such a bonehead. I don't know what key I just hit. Sorry, folks. Transform, rotate, Z. Because I think that it's going to be... No, not Z. Rotate Y. Along the Y-axis. No, it should be along the X-axis. If it's an XZ plane and we want it to be vertical, right? Pitch, look up, down. Yeah, okay. So let's just do a little bit and see what happens to that. No. So neither of those do anything. None of those do anything. Oh, I didn't have that key combo set up in here. What do I want to do? Not bottom center. Well, let's do. So I'm looking at rectangle. I had a thing on my work computer that I did with rectangle, which was like put it at the bottom, put the other thing at the top. Maybe let's just make this second fourth, and we'll hide the project viewer so we can see the file, and make this third fourth. That'll do for now. Interesting that when you scale that, you get the debug breaking. That's a problem. Yeah, rotating different axes makes no difference. I'm not seeing anything on this it should be white. Yeah, we don't need a light. So yeah, I think what I want to do is like maybe like rotate Z a little bit and then rotate X a little bit. So the thing is like on a skew. It still doesn't display. What the hell is going wrong? Let's make a perspective camera and see if we can get anything else. So what does perspective take? Field of view. Vertical field of view in degrees. Let's say 60. Near is 0.1, far is 1000. Fine, I don't care. Oh, the thing is that has to be in a let assert. Yeah. Okay, and then this needs to be, I need to be like moved out of the way. I'm gonna want to be 0 on the X. Y is vertical, so let's go up. And then 0 on the Z. Yep. Okay, that doesn't help. And I want to look at, yeah, I want to look at 1000. Okay, so I'm going to do something just to, I'm going to comment that out so I don't see it. Interesting, there's the blue axis there, which is the Z axis. We can make the near negative 1000 on the Z. Yeah, that's bad. What did we do in the other project? We just used the generated one, right? We didn't change the camera perspective at all. It was 75, 0.1. What, yeah. So, I mean, we can do that. Let's look at the camera in here. Now we did, So we moved the target and got the transform out of there. So this was the whole camera controller thing. We don't need this because we're trying to do 2D. It's just making it hard on us. So we had the target and then the position in polar coordinates and then the distance, or the max distance the camera could be from the origin. And I think that what we got was not... We never moved the target in our demo thing because I was wanting to make panning, but we really just did I'm sorry, not panning, like strafing of the camera. We didn't do that. We did just zoom in and out and rotate up and down. But panning would let you change the center, right, or what the camera is looking at. So this viewport thing is like you can create multiple viewports, and if you don't specify it, it uses the main viewport. That's how you can do like overlay type stuff, as I understand it. It feels weird because I feel like I'm not doing anything special here. Okay, now we're not displaying anything. Here, go away. The other thing I can do potentially is take the time thing and move the camera around with the tick. So we could say we actually want it here. So what I'm doing is I'm making it rotate around every second, right? And we'll do cosine here. And that's too fast. we need to divide. That's interesting, but it's too fast. Let's reduce the radius. Okay, so okay, so here we're always looking at the origin. And this is the bounding box of the thing that we supposedly have. Let's remove the rotation on it. We have no texture. What? Put it at 0. Okay. So the back face, we don't see it. Put it at 1. Okay. So I think the issue is we were seeing the backside of it from the perspective that we were at. So what is... So Z is blue. So if we make a plane, it should be an XZ plane. Nah. I mean, I think it should be. But it's interesting there that we come around this side of it, and I should turn off this bounding box because it's not helpful. We come around on the positive Z plane, and we see it. So the transform or the positive Z axis, right? Axes are yeah, let's do 0. Put that as 0, 0. Fine. Okay. I need to memorize this. So Y is green, X is red, Z is blue. So if we are, yeah, the normals are all backwards. So we need to rotate this around the Y-axis. And we need to do a full 180. So we'll say mass.pi, right? So now with the Z going in the screen, we see it. Okay. So and there's our star field. Okay. Wow, debugging much? Okay. So let's see if we can go back to the orthographic camera. right? And then we're going to remove the look at, and we're going to put this at the camera at 0, 0, 0, right? And the near is 0.1, so I'm sorry, we need the -1, and we need it to look at okay. So here's what's going to be interesting now that we can see our star field. And now it's like, okay, so that's messed up. I think this orthographic camera is like the implementation. Something is wrong with it. It's just wrong. Objects are the same size regardless of distance. Well, you just changed the window size, and now I can't see the dang thing. And it's also stretching. I mean, we can move this. Now see there, if like I put it way in the distance, that orthographic camera cannot be right. Because it literally says they should be the same size regardless of distance, right? Objects, no perspective distortion. Objects are same size regardless of distance. It disappears if I put it at 1,000. Now it could just be that I need to make it, 999. Okay. The other thing, I think what I need to do is correct for aspect ratio. So and I need to think about that. So let's pause it for today. This is some progress. We finally got a frickin' texture displaying. It is not proportional to anything, and we need to scale the dimensions of the camera based on the canvas size. So it's really an aspect ratio thing, right? So let's do that real quick. And we want it's just me unused, but now we get the full thing. But what I want to do is so the aspect ratio is going to be context.canvas width divided by context.canvas height, and then it's the proportion of the width to the height. So if they're 1-to-1, then none of these should change. But I think that what I want to do here is And this will make sure our texture doesn't skew. Except that made it worse. Okay, so let's see what happens when we... That feels really gooey. Do I have that backwards? I might have that backwards. Yeah, I think that's the problem. I don't know why I thought it needed to be the other way, but no, that's still not right. Okay. Let's look at that image, because I think okay, it is rectangular. That also looks washed out, so we need to adjust that. There might be some alpha business going on. What if we set that to 0? Interesting. Interesting. I'm sorry, it's not alpha. I'm concerned about the gamma. The gamma's wrong on this image. Because what I would like to see is that like I'd like it to hug and not stretch. I mean, it's going to stretch, but we could put another thing in front of it that's semi-transparent and color correct if we wanted to. The other thing that we could look into is, I thought that there was like a skybox scene element, but it's possible there isn't. Oh, this will be interesting. State machine. We may make use of that. All right. We don't need spatial queries. This is the other thing that we could do. We could use it as a sprite material. I don't know if that makes any difference, but let's change it. They have the same arguments, so we can say this is sprite. What did we do? Oh, whoops. It didn't like that. Sprites always face the camera, useful for particles. I wonder if, you know, this is like, okay, so you do this, but we'll make use of that for Lucy and so forth, potentially. Yeah, I wonder if we need to change the way the texture is handled on that. Don't need to do the wrap mode. Honestly, it felt like a what if we did this? Like we only scale one dimension. So like if the width is greater than the height, no, if the width, so the width is less than the height, then we want to scale by the aspect ratio. Otherwise 10. And we'll do the same for half y. Like, because I think that this is a bit of that's still not right. I want the texture not to distort. I just want it to clip. And I want it to fill the screen. That's what the 2020 thing is, right? Oh, well, I didn't change this. So this needs to be 0 minus half x half x. This needs to be half y, and this needs to be 0 minus half y. Okay, okay. Look how that's scaling without changing the dimensions of the texture. I mean, it's a little jittery, right? That's the sort of effect we want. Now I just need to make it a bit, like, I want to make it darker without washing it out. And I'm not sure that that is going to... I'm going to do some funky stuff with the texture here. This is some of the stuff I wanted to do with the displacement map texture in the other project so that we could get the waves moving and some stuff, but I didn't do it there. So we're going to say this needs to be 0 to 1. So let's do okay, this is gonna be really dumb, but yep. Let's slow it down a lot. You know, the better way to do that would be to pan, but we're gonna say that's kind of fun. Mirrored. And not have it repeat. Just have it wrap around. I wish they were not so slow. No, it's choppy. I think it has to do with the camera. This may come back to bite us. I'm not here. I'm going to get rid of the changing offset. I think the way that we're scaling it may come back to bite us. And what I may want to do instead is just pick a fixed size. It just... Yeah, see, that's what surprised me, is I thought that, like, you would, because of the relationship of these two, you would multiply one and divide the other, but I guess if you ever multiply, it could get greater than the value that you want. We could just say no, but then that will yeah, see, that messes things up. I was like, oh, just scale the X. If you do that. All right. Well, thanks for staying on for so long. I'll do some more tomorrow, and we'll potentially see you then. I'll announce on my socials. Thanks.